Welcome, everyone. We've got Fellow with us. We're going to be talking about AI and how they have it going on right in the middle of everything. We peeked at it a little bit the last time with Fellow, and now we're going to go in and just show you exactly what it does, the power and the beauty of it. I'm excited to hear because AI keeps on popping up everywhere, but I think you guys have done it really well from the pictures and the talk that I've seen. uh, where do we start with this, Carrie?
Sure, absolutely. Well, quick intro on my side if this is your first time tuning in or hearing about Fellow. Um, I'm Carrie Kleckner. I'm our VP of Sales here at Fellow. Um, and last time we talked a lot about data, and we can kick off with that and then jump right into the AI automation. But if you're not familiar with Fellow, Fellow is a platform that plugs into your database to help serve up the listings in there that you might not know that are sitting in the database. And we see that about 7% of any database is going to list their home in the next 12 months. And 7% has already listed their home, right, in the last 12 months. And that's true regardless of your database size, how long you've been in the business, what market you're in. Everybody tries to stump me and tell me, why their database or their market is different, but the math always comes out the same. We always see about 7% of that database is listing their home every year. But there's several reasons why agents are not capturing all of those deals or the volume. And that is what Fellow is here to solve. So they don't have the right data, they don't have the right AI automations, and then we don't have the right scripting to then follow up with a personalized follow up to that person when the time is right.
All right, question about that. Out of the 7% that end up selling or transacting, what have you seen as the highest for an agent to convert from that? Because we're not going to get everyone,
Of
and
course.
some agents get zero of that,
Right.
because
Right.
we have no systems. But what would you say with Fellow you've seen those that are using it really well
Yeah.
and consistently? What's that number?
Yeah. It's across the board, Tristan. I can show you some of the reports as we get into the demo later, but I have agents who join us and they captured zero. Like there's a goose egg on that first report of in the last year you listed 0% of that. And then I have folks who come in and they've already listed, they might have smaller tight knit databases and they're listing 25%, 40% of that already. The goal of Fellow is just to make small incremental changes month over month, right? Like when you're focusing on building a listing business, you don't go to 0 to 100 overnight, right?
No.
So the goal is, when we join Fellow, the first thing that we talk about is, okay, how much did you do last year? And then what is your goal this coming year? And then what do we need to do month over month to just increase that conversion a little bit?
Right? Small gains, like
gains.
Running a marathon. It's like, hey, you're going to run a little bit more today.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So where do we start now with AI in Fellow if we've got the right data? So let's say we've got a lot of people in there, but we don't. In fact, right before our call right now, I was with an agent and they're like, Tristan, the hardest challenge for me every day is I go into my database and I'm a little bit lost. I don't know who to contact first. And I feel like I'm just spinning my wheels.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where do we start with this?
Yeah, sure. I can share my screen here in a second. But philosophically, the position that we take here at Fellow is the AI and the automation is only going to be as good as the data that you feed it, right? So you think about ChatGPT. It's only as the answers that you get from ChatGPT are only as good as the resources and the web that it's pulling that information from, right? And so think about that as you're looking to maybe change your systems or your CRM or your follow-up or your automations using AI. It's only going to be as good as the database that you're feeding into it, right? So if you have partial data or incorrect data or outdated data, the AI is going to come off as robotic or it's going to start conversations with your database that are based off of that incorrect data, right? So I always
Yeah.
say like that is number one, right? And I'll share my screen here and we can start to go into what some of the automations look like. But that's a huge problem in our industry that I like to start off and preface that we see about 80% of the databases or the contacts in the databases here at Fellow are missing current home addresses, right?
Yeah,
Because
that
we
makes
built
sense.
our databases typically on buyer leads. That's been the easiest way to build a database in the past decade, which is great because it's very cost effective. But now when we're talking about capturing more listings month over month from that 7% that we know is going to list, very hard to do that. Very hard to leverage AI and automation if you don't know where that person currently lives to give them a personalized message about their home, right? So I always say if you're you don't know where to start, like the agent that you were just chatting with, and you don't know who to call, that's the first investment that I would make, right? Is let's make sure that the data in your database is clean, is accurate, and you've got, if everybody in that database should either be a homeowner or a renter. Like you should have one of those tags on every single contact in the database and have that current address in there. And then about what we'll go through next, the automations and the AI, that's where it really takes off to the next level. Otherwise, it's going to be super generic because it's going to be sending the same messages to everyone because it doesn't know anything personal about that person.
So segmentation first.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. Absolutely. I think I put my screen up. If we can, there we go. Perfect. So I'll start to show you a little bit of what this looks like. And Tristan, as always, please interrupt me and ask questions. But this is what the back end of Fellow looks like. So if this is your first time seeing it, Fellow is a platform that sits on top of your current database, right? And so whether you're using a CRM, you're using Follow Up Boss, Sierra, Lofty, Sync, whatever, Brivity, wherever your database currently lives in a CRM. Or I have agents who come to us who aren't really utilizing CRMs, like they've got all their contacts in a Google spreadsheet somewhere or a CSV that they've exported, or they're receiving leads from other sources. I say, come one, come all, bring it all. Fellow's just going to sit on top of that. Okay, so it doesn't matter where your database currently lives. We'll breeze through this because we talked about this in depth last time. But the first thing that we'll do, kind of go into that database quality, is we will do a quality report on that database, show you if you have any duplicate records, invalid email addresses, where you're missing property addresses. In this agent's database, he's got 80,000 contacts. So this is our CEO, Ryan Young's actual Fellow account. He runs a team up in Cleveland, Ohio. They've got 80,000 contacts in the database, and through Fellow, we've added a ton of data points you can see here over time. So now he's up to 85% of his database has a property address.
Nice.
Like I said, typically when someone joins us, they only got about 20% in that. So Fellow can add addresses for you if you have an email. So that's always step number one. We call it enrichment, right? Like let's attach home addresses to everybody that you've got in the database, right? That's step one. Step two is like, let's look back and understand the value of the database of what you've lost, right? So this is kind of going back to like, let's get a little bit better every month. It's not all going to happen overnight. So now that we have the addresses, and right now I'm looking at last 180 days for Ryan's team, there have been 2,618 listings out of his database of 80,000 contacts in the last 180 days. All right. His team has listed 108 of those. Now, 108 in terms of what their personal goals are and what they're working on volume wise with less than 15 agents is excellent. Like they are pumped about that, right? Yeah. But this is like the opportunity that they're always chasing, right? They know that this database is worth, over the last 180 days, 1.2 billion, right? And what they've captured is about 88 million in volume, which again, for that team size is excellent, but that allows us to understand, okay, if we want to get 1%, 2%, 3% better month over month, that's what we're running at. So that's the foundation, right? I always like to start there. That's where we start at Fellow, right? Like, let's get your database in, let's clean it up, let's understand the opportunity so that when we're turning on the automation, right, and the AI, we're making sure that we're going after the right goals. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. I like this.
Awesome. So once we do that, we know that not all sellers or not all homeowners are alike, right? So what we do is we start to segment the data. So let's say, here's an example of someone in Ryan's database. The first thing that we do is we make sure that for that address, that person is truly the homeowner. Again, super important before we turn on AI and automations to validate all of the data. Make sure you've got the right home addresses for everyone. Once we do that, we are also pumping in hundreds of data points. So what is the interest rate on this property? How long have they been in the property? Who was their last agent? What is the balance on their mortgage? What is their estimated equity, right? So these are all things that you would want to know ahead of time before either you as a human or the automations and AI start to reach out to this person about selling their home. Right?
So as they start getting enriched and they start getting segmented within the system,
Yep.
are they going to be reached out automatically with AI based on that segmentation?
Yep, absolutely.
Got
So what we'll do is you can see Ryan's team has a ton of segments over here that they're focused on, right?
Yeah, that's a lot.
All of this happens automatically. And we have a full team of customer success managers. I really call them coaches here at Fellow, who would help you set these up based on your goals, right? You're not going to have to reinvent the wheel and come up with all of this on your own. And we also have AI within the data platform for segmentation, right? That just says, like, help me find, like, if it's important to you, help me find contacts who have owned the home, can't type and talk at the same time,
All right,
for more than 10 years, right? And then when you hit this, it'll automatically create that segment for you. So that makes it really, really easy to start to create some of these segments on your own as well.
got it. So I have a
All
question about the segmentation and the enrichment. So when we're looking at both of those, does that, so like I have Follow Up Boss.
Sure.
How does that reciprocation work when you've enriched a contact? Does that send it over to FUB as well? Or what does that look like?
Absolutely. So with Follow Up Boss, we have a fabulous native integration in Follow Up Boss where all of this seamlessly goes back and forth and updates segmentation, tags, fields within Follow Up Boss. So
Cool.
I would automatically add that home address for them. We could add a tag based on the segment automatically, so you can create smart lists in FUB, right? So you'll see some of the automation that Fellow will send out here in a second, but you could also send additional automation out of your existing CRM based on the tags and the addresses that we're feeding into your CRM. Again, think of Fellow as sitting on top of that CRM and just making it a heck of a lot better, right? And using the data, the segmentation, and help with additional automations that you might have with other platforms as well.
Makes sense. Imani has a good question. Can Fellow add email or phone numbers to addresses instead of reverse?
Yep. Great question. So phone numbers coming soon. We've got a planned launch for that. We'll talk about our AI texting and calling here in a second that will launch alongside that in the coming months. So yes, soon to come on the phone numbers. On the email component, we do not attach emails because it gets hairy with opt-in laws, as well as when we don't have an opt-in contact, we see that the emails perform pretty poorly. A lot of them hit spam, right? Or will unsubscribe. But what we can do instead, if you have home addresses, is we have postcards and automated campaigns here at Fellow, where if you have a home address, I can send them a postcard, something like this, right, on automation. And it will have a QR code on it. So if they scan the QR code, it'll prompt them to enter their address. And now you've got an opt-in email.
That's awesome.
So that's what I recommend. I have a lot of agents on Fellow who've got farms, right, of addresses that they're working. And postcard automation is a really great way if you're looking to get emails to get them to organically scan, give them, this is a pretty strong call to action in terms of sell now, but we've got other ones just about, home value, right, that we could look at. Maybe you're not ready to sell now, but something more light and generic that might get them to scan that QR code and give you their contact info.
Carrie, do we upload our database of like our farm database into Fellow, or can we search, like, can we map it out on Fellow and then upload it directly from there? How does that work?
Yeah, so with Fellow, it's you connect your database. So whether you've got a CSV file, a Google Sheet, or a platform or a CRM where that contact information is held, you would bring that into Fellow. We are not providing leads or farms to you. You're going to bring your farm or your database to us.
Perfect.
Right.
And then how easy is the automation for the mailers? Like, is it a click of a button? Because agents sometimes we're doing this, we're doing that, and it gets really complicated, right?
Sure.
How automated is it?
Super. So you've got the contacts in here. We've enriched them. We've got all the data. All right. Next step is to start to turn on the AI and automations. We have many, and we're rolling out new ones constantly, pre-built automations based on the key use cases that we see across our 30,000 agents that are on the platform.
That's
right?
cool.
So you don't have to go home. You can build these out from scratch if you'd like, but we've got it all pre-built for you here. So here's one that I love: reactivate expired sellers with personalized outreach, right?
Oh,
so
heck yeah.
let's say somebody in your database owns a home that we helped enrich for you, and they recently expired on the MLS with another agent, right? Immediately, because we are connected to the MLS and public records, the second we see that home expire with someone other than you, right, it will automatically put them in this automation. And you can say, oh, I want it to go out that day, or you can say the delay is a week, up to you how you want that. But then we're going to start dripping on them with an automated email campaign. And I'll show you what some of these emails look like here in a second. That's going to stay in front of them, right? And you can also add postcards.
That's awesome.
When we launch our AI texting and calling later this year, we can add texting and calling into this as well. But really, the trigger point is the data, right? So what we want to do is set up the automations, and then these contacts are automatically going to enroll over time in these automations based on their criteria. So we've got things, again, expired listings, if you're targeting with cash offers, because we have all of the mortgage data, we can talk about refinancing and rates coming down. Again, as folks hit certain segments, then they are enrolled in these automations. So again, right message, right person, right time. For example, when we're talking about rates coming down or refinancing, that message is not going to make sense to someone who's got a 2 or 3% interest rate.
Yeah, definitely.
So those people do not automatically enroll in any of that. Those with the 6+% interest rates, right? They might automatically enroll in some of the things that we have in terms of mortgage call to actions.
Right? Do these pop up on the Fellow feed in the morning and be like, hey, we turned this on for you, or do you want it to be turned on, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So on our home dashboard, we've got an optimization score. And what you just asked would be, now Ryan's team is pretty optimized. He owns Fellow, so
Yeah.
he doesn't have a lot of suggestions here. But that's where this would pop up of recommendations of what you would need to turn on, right? And so you can actually click right into it from here.
Got it. It'll show up
for you. Again, you're also going to have a customer success manager that's my number one recommendation to anyone who joins Fellow. Get a monthly call. Like, they're there they would have a weekly call with you if you really wanted to, but at least meet with them monthly to make sure that you're not missing out on any of this, and they will do a deep dive on your account and make recommendations.
I love that.
So I'll show you.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead. Right after you show me, I have another question.
Yeah, sure. I'll just show you what some of this looks like. So here's an example of an automation that Ryan's team has for anyone who's got a home value over 750K in Cleveland, Ohio.
That's
Right.
very
So
specific. I like that.
yeah, so market specific for his team, that's the line or threshold for luxury, right? And then you can see he's got a different automation for anyone who's below 750, right? Just to show
Mm,
you what that looks like in his database and how the automations once you turn them on work. So you saw how we had that pre-canned earlier, then you can come
mhm.
in here and make some adjustments. So for him, anytime someone has an AVM that we're bringing in over 750, they're not currently on the market with another agent, so we don't want to be marketing to them if they are currently active with someone else.
Love it.
If they go active with someone else, they immediately get pulled from the automation. And then he has some tags over in his follow-up boss that he does not want us to email, right? So maybe these are his like super luxury clients that they're working really close with very closely right now, very white glove experience. He
Mhm.
doesn't want automation going out to those. So those are excluded, right? That's the segmentation. Then you can see now on automation, these property updates are going to email out automatically, and he has them going out every 15 days.
I love that. All right, so now you gave me some ideas because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking in our area. So Malibu has a lot of people that own multiple homes, and some of the homes on the beach sit empty for over half of the year. And sometimes they want to sell them. So I'm like, the criteria would be perfect. It's like they're in and out, right? They have multiple homes. It's on the beach. I could totally segment it like that and be like automated. I love this.
Now, so the segmentation, like exactly what you just mentioned, different folks are getting different emails, right? It's automatically going out based on delays or criteria that you have.
Mhm.
Again, here's a quick example of what an email like that would look like. Let's see, I'll preview and test. So everything's fully white labeled, right? Your logos, your colors, your branding, your signatures. We keep everything. And again, AI is writing these emails for you.
Okay.
This is all based on what we see across our 30,000 agents, 50 million contacts that we're nurturing here in Fellow. You're getting advantage of the massive, not A/B testing like A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P testing that we're doing on all of these templates through AI.
Yeah.
So all that pre-fills, again, you can make edits to them if you'd like. I always say don't try to beat the AI. Like the AI knows a lot more about the subject line and body copy testing than we ever will. But if you want to make changes, you absolutely can. But
I love
everything
that.
we recommend pretty short and sweet with a call to action, right? So in this example, it's view details. When they click on that, and I always like to show what it looks like on mobile, right? So squeeze it in. Most folks are going to be looking at their dashboard from the email on mobile. When they click into an email or they scan a postcard, we're going to
Yeah.
land them on these personalized dashboards. Okay. These are one-to-one dashboards for each of the contacts in your database. No two contacts will see the same dashboard because it's property specific, right? So the
Easy.
first thing they're going to see is we can do, and also keep in mind all of this, the way it's displayed is also customizable. So Ryan likes to show 3 different AVMs and a trend line. If you just want to show one, you can. If you want to take the trend lines out, you can. If you want to say your home value instead of your home estimate, you can do that, right? So again,
Mm,
we've got pre-canned recommendations based on where we're seeing the results. But all of this is customizable.
I love that.
This person has that home value over 750. So now they're seeing a luxury experience with Ryan's team, right? So about talking about how his team has sold over $1 billion, their luxury home. He's got a record-breaking listing right now in the luxury space that he's got a video on there with. Everything on here is also clickable. So whatever they click is going to be like a form submission that's going to alert that agent that this person has interacted with their dashboard. And in this case, they want to speak to an agent. I think this also lists links right out to all of their featured properties on their website. The goal of this is to be a highly interactive dashboard in place where the homeowner can come, click around, and then start a conversation with the agent, right?
Easy.
They've also got their lender featured here. So if you want to split costs with your lender on Fellows automations and feature them, you can do that too.
That's awesome.
But notice, okay, going back to the AI and the data,
Yeah.
here's another example. Now, this person has a value lower than 750, right?
Yeah.
Different dashboard, right? Rather than list your luxury home, now Ryan's also talking about sell your home for cash versus what a listing would look like. And he's got a video about his guaranteed offer program, right? So not only are the emails that we're sending out, based on the data, right? So it's right message, right automation, right person, right time, right? But they're all being taken to dashboards that are now even more customized to them and their property.
That's
right?
super cool.
And, automation and AI and all of that is wonderful. But if it doesn't produce leads, it's just a shiny object, right? Like, what's the point? So that's really what everything here at Fellow is aimed at when we talk about our automations. It's getting interactions, and interactions would be those folks clicking on the dashboards and actually raising their hand to talk to an agent, right? So here's an example of the submissions that his team is getting. Now, every time they get a submission, it's going to log in their CRM. It's going to send the agent an email. You'll get a notification in Fellow that, this seller has requested more information or they want to contact their agent. So imagine with Fellow, you've got this database. Let's say you've got 10,000 folks in your database, right? That means there's going to be 700 listings because 7% are going to list in the next 12 months. Fellow not only brings in all the missing home addresses, but in the background, you don't even have to think about it. These automations and emails and postcards are going out to the right folks. And every single day, you're going to have a couple of people scan those QR codes, click on the emails, and you're going to come into inbound leads as a result every single day by that right message going out.
That's cool. I love that. Imani has another question. How can you use Fellow when you're working on a team of two people, both have their own contacts, but also common contacts?
Yep.
How would that work?
Yep, great question. So we have a few different plans here at Fellow that work at the brokerage level, at the team level, or at the individual agent level. So in your position, I would definitely recommend one of our team-based plans. You would both have your own seat. So I think it's very similar to a CRM. You would both have your own seat. Some contacts would be owned by agent A, other contacts would be owned by agent B, and then there might be shared contacts that you can leave unassigned or and that both of you can see, right? And so as long as you are on the same team, operating under the same brand, you would absolutely share the same account. And our pricing is all based just really on how many contacts that you have, either on your own or as a team, or if the brokerage is purchasing it. It's all about contact and database size.
All right. So Linda's got a good question here. My company has created our own CRM program on our platform. Will Fellow interact with that type of CRM?
Sure. So Fellow has a few different ways of interacting or connecting or integrating with CRMs. We do have open APIs. So if that's something that your tech team is interested in exploring, we can absolutely provide that. We are a live app in the Zapier app store. So if you ever use Zapier to connect to platforms before, you can absolutely use that with Fellow. And then similar to Zapier, there are two other platforms, API Nation as well as RealSync, that are pretty popular in the industry. And again, Fellow is apps on all three of those, basically third-party connection tools as well.
I love that. And then I have a question for you. Sure. Let me just switch you to a different view so I can, there it is. With all the automation that's happening and AI being integrated with part of that, where do you see Fellow going in the next year or just the next few months? Like what's next?
Sure. So I love that question. This is our coming soon page, right? So what you saw today is Fellow today has excellent data, excellent automations right now powered through email as well as postcards. What's coming by the end of the year is a full platform of AI calling, email, SMS, and chat, right? And what that looks like is, and how this might be different from other AI tools out on the market today,
Mhm.
is our AI agents are trained with all of that MLS, public record, and mortgage data on every single contact in your database, right? So when the AI call, for example, goes out, or an SMS, it's going to be very targeted and specific to that homeowner, where it
Mhm.
feels like, this text or this call is really personalized to me. And those calls and those texts are going out to those segments that are most likely to list their home in the next 12 months, because they're on that 7% watch list based on how long they've been in the home, their equity, their interest rate, the activity, like maybe they're spending a lot of time on their dashboards, right? Doesn't make sense to have AI automation go out to someone who's been in their home for 2 months to talk to them about selling
True.
their home, right? So
Yeah, no.
um, super excited for this to launch. And I've had the chance
That
to
is very
spend some
cool.
time with our calling agent. And it's incredible. Like, we have gotten the latency, which is the time between like the first person talking and them responding, down
Mhm.
to like, I believe it's under 0.4 seconds, and a human is around 0.3, I believe. Like, it's really, really
Wow.
impressive. So next time I'm here, hopefully let's plan that
I
around
would love to, yeah, I would love to
calling
hear that.
launches, so we can play around with it. It's fun. Sometimes I just sit and ask it questions and try to stump it, and I can't, because it has access immediately to all of that data, where a live person would have to spend some time to search and look up on the MLS or public records. This agent has it right there at their fingertips, which is cool.
I love that. I love where you guys are going because it fits perfectly into how we function and what we need, right?
Yeah,
So, all right,
absolutely.
question. If people want to get a hold of you directly because they have questions, because they want to email with somebody,
Sure.
how do they do that? Can you put your
Yeah,
email in there somewhere?
yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to put, let's see, in the
Because I
chat.
know I've got Himani wants more details about platform and pricing and postcards. Himani, you can scan that and at least get something going there. And then you can email Carrie. There's her email, sales@fellow.ai. And then Moises has a question. Let me pop it up here so everybody can see it. Not sure if asked, but how does Fellow help agents go beyond just capturing leads? Specifically, what tools inside the platform actually increase conversion rates and make sure leads don't die in the CRM? Moises, we did cover that, but Carrie can explain that
Sure.
for you.
Sure. I'm pulling up my screen here again. Um, Within the platform, we have the Ask AI feature, and we talked a little bit about how it can help you find leads, but we also have a coaching AI in here as well, where you can ask it to generate personalized talking points, scripts, simulate contact objections based on that individual contact, right? So let's say we're looking, like, you can come in here and you want to see, um, based on the contact's name. So I'm going to search, I'm just going to pick a random contact, objections for selling their home, right? And you can do this for any contact or any segment or any objection in your database. Give it a second to run here. And then it's going to actually come up with talking points or simulate objections that you're going to get when you make that call, right?
Mhm.
So not only are we helping you identify who to call, but we actually have the scripts and the objection handling built right here into the platform as well.
Perfect. I love that. So good question, by the way.
Yeah.
Carrie did put her email there at the bottom, sales@fellow.ai. So go ahead and use that one if you have any questions. If not, you can always reach out to me here. lab coats, if you're watching YouTube, Facebook, just find me and I'll connect you to the right people at Fellow.
Absolutely. And I also just put a link in the chat. This is really the best. This is the fastest way to get in touch with us. That was on the,
Right.
That's the link from the QR code as well. And that gets you enrolled in any of our additional marketing information too. And if you come in through that link, you will get the Lab Coat Agents discount and exclusive offer that we're running for the webinar. So it's a couple $100 off your initial onboarding, which is great. And then you'll get the enrichment on your database for free on your first upload. So if you're missing home addresses, make sure that you click that link because you'll get free home addresses on your database if you come in through the link.
Awesome. Thanks so much for doing this, Carrie, and explaining this. This was good. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it. And I look forward to coming back in a couple months and we can play around with the AI calling agent and texting too.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Everyone else, thank you so much for being here. Any questions you have, you could throw them our way or just go to the link there. Have an awesome day and check out Fellow. Appreciate it, everybody.